Okay. Item 10B, receive a report on the street light replacement program.
Good evening, honorable mayors and members of the City Council. Staff excited tonight to provide a status update on the streetlight replacement project. The city implemented the project with three primary goals: to establish better visibility at night through brighter illumination, creating a safer environment for pedestrians, motorists, and cyclists when they're sharing the road, and to install the lights that are long-lasting and durable to decrease outages and maintenance costs. And lastly, to install lights that reduce energy usage to lower utility cost and carbon emissions. The City Council and community has long anticipated the construction of this project, and as of last week, the construction has commenced. Many tasks have been completed since the Council awarded the project at the end of February. Tanko Lighting, which the city contractor completed a comprehensive. They also created a GIS layer of the streetlights inventory from the audit. Staff reviewed the LED material submittals. Tanko and city staff also performed and reviewed streetlights wattages and types to determine the optimal lighting coverage throughout city streets. The contractor, Tanko, developed a conversion schedule to replace all streetlights within the city except for the Crestport neighborhood, which will be completed at a later time. And staff reviewed and approved the traffic control plans for this construction. Here are some recent pictures of the installation. The construction phase for this project started last week, as I mentioned, beginning at the residential areas near Spyglass Drive and Pacific Heights neighborhood, and the area nearest the east of El Camino. Residents will see crews with these type of bucket trucks in their neighborhood installing the LED lights very soon if they haven't already. The construction process is relatively fast. It takes approximately 10 to 20 minutes for each street light to remove and replace with the LED. 3 construction crews are working in various locations throughout the city to install the lights. The companies that are installing the lights are Aegis, ITS, and Flower Electrics. Residents should see a project sign at the back of these trucks with the project name and telephone number to call if they have any questions. Since last week, a total of 248 streetlights have been converted to LED. The contract is on fast track to complete the conversion of all the residential areas by November. Then the contractor will focus on completing the RO circuit and ornamental streetlights along San Mateo Avenue and Bay Hill area. These last areas are anticipated to be completed by the end of December. This slide shows the before and after pictures that was taken at night on Moulton Drive. And you can definitely see the difference between the color that has, the existing has more of a yellow hue to it, and then the new has more brighter, whiter color with the LED. As mentioned earlier, Bay Hill area has ornamental lighting as shown on the left picture. The contractor is currently unable to obtain the glow fixtures to convert the LED and is proposing to install something similar to the fixture on the right. The proposed installation will keep the existing pole as is. However, a new arm and LED fixture that matches the current installation will be provided so that it has consistent look throughout the city. Due to the difficulties in purchasing the glow fixtures, the city has been replacing the streetlights with standard aluminum poles and cobra head in the area when there's a knockdown. Currently, about 10 to 15 have been changed in the Bay Hill area. For public outreach, staff has utilized a variety of methods to gather feedback and distribute information. Use the city's websites, updates, focus articles, and then cable TV advertisement. There's no fiscal impact associated with this update. The costs for the project remain consistent with the contractual amount to Tanko for $994,000. And the payback for this project cost will be through energy savings, which is estimated to be about $100,000 per year. This concludes my presentation. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Good. Any questions for Jimmy?
To the chair.
Michael?
So I'm glad you mentioned the $100,000 per year energy saving, because I mean, to say there's no fiscal impact, I mean, there clearly is a fiscal impact. Is there any reduced maintenance cost that's also associated with these lights?
Yes. From my understanding that there are maintenance cost reduction because LED lasts a lot longer than the previous, high pressure sodiums. So there would be reduction in maintenance costs associated with this project.
Okay. So at some point, are we going to get an estimate of what that total reduction is so we can make sure it gets reflected in the next budget? Okay. And also, if you could refresh my memory, I thought there was there were areas of the city where we had the wrong, whether it was series or parallel, we had the wrong kind of electrical. Are those areas being addressed within this, or is that still a separate project? 'Cause I think that was being considered separately at one point.
Yes, the RO circuit is included as part of this project.
Okay.
There will be new wiring and a transformer included for the area.
Okay. And what is the impact of that work? Is that going to, because it's a little bit more complicated than just replacing the heads on them. So are we going to see any kind of power outages in those neighborhoods, or is that something that's completely separate from the residential power?
I want to refer to Ted to answer. Yeah.
It's just us.
Now you have our expert.
Hello, Mr. Mayor and Councilman. I'm Ted Chapman. I'm the Service Manager for Street Division. The RO work that's being completed, we are installing a transformer at the base of the poles. We do not anticipate large outages. This work has to be coordinated with PG&E on a daily basis for them to be able to shut the power off and re-energize it by 5 or 6 o'clock at night. And Tanko Lighting is our consultant that is working with PG&E and the contractors to facilitate this work. And that's why this type of work is being done after our major install of all the LEDs. I hope that answered your question.
One more question,
Yes.
since I have you up there. So do we anticipate any delays because of PG&E's involvement? Because I know in some other work I've seen done, it's a little harder to get their approved inspectors scheduled because there aren't very many of them, and sometimes they're in high demand.
We have actually, the manufacturer of the transformer has been in close contact with PG&E and has received all of their approvals for the ROs and the transformers that are on site and located in each one of the individual areas. We do not anticipate any issues with PG&E, but it's construction, and we will do the best we can not to have that interruption.
Okay, thank you.
If I could just add, the reason that we're talking about the RO circuitry is number one, because it complicates the installation of the LED fixtures, which I think is your commentary. But this project does nothing to substantively improve the reliability on a going forward basis of the RO circuitry and its propensity to have difficult repair situations when it does go out. So we are looking forward to having better quality light in both those neighborhoods that are served by the RO circuits and those that are not. And we look forward to the opportunity potentially at another time to actually upgrade those systems so that we're not subject to extended delay periods in some cases when, for whatever reason, the electrical circuitry is disrupted.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that comment.
Anything else? Ken?
I'm very excited with this, and I live 2 blocks away from Millbrae, and they've had them for a few years now. So I've been very anxious to see this, and I'm sorry I haven't seen the initial installations, but I want to know what the community thinks. And so if we can gather those comments, not just the complaints or people calling the installers, but I really want to know what they think, if there's a noticeable difference, because I think there is a noticeable difference. There are neighborhoods that are just so dark, and the yellow just makes it seem darker, but placing these LEDs, and I know there's going to be some complaints that it's too bright because they're just not used to it yet, but I think it makes for safer communities, it makes for well-lit areas, and especially where there's a lot of trees and things. So thanks for all the efforts. Thanks,
Right.
Ted.
Thank you. Anything else? Well, thank you, Jimmy, for the report. We look forward to getting this completed.